Hello, everyone. We are back with another episode of Pints and Quarts, presented by Craft Beer Nation. Today is episode 30, January 22nd, 2015. And we've got, as our special guest tonight, we've got Rob Tarves, the head brewer at Brewhouse Brewing in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, just south of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Gil Mello is on site with him, and we are going to have some good stuff. So stick around, enjoy the show, and don't touch that mouse.
Time now for a look back at the last week in the craft beer industry. Pour a cold one and sit back for an all-new episode of Pints and Quarts, presented by Craft Beer Nation.
All right, we've got kind of a smaller panel of regulars tonight. Going to be a tight show. It's going to be tight. I feel it. We got Randy Gardner Jr., Doug Nolan, Charles Dunkley, myself, Matt Miller, and on site, on location, with all his gear, is Gil Mello. Gil is sitting there with Rob Tarves. Gil, how are you? How's the beer? And introduce Rob.
The beer is awesome. I'm doing great. I mean, we got all set it up. We can see the beautiful tap room in the back, and Rob has been a great host so far. I've been enjoying Brewhouse for quite a while, and this is the man who helped me to do a lot of trade on beers. I was trying to explain to him that I do exchange, I don't do trades, but people have no idea how Covenant is. Like, people really like Brewhouse beer, so I'm happy that he can talk to us today.
Yeah, I'm so glad that relationship's working out for you, Gil. Okay, Rob, tell us about how business is going for you guys. I mean, you've been in business 2 years, 3 years now?
I personally have been at Brewhouse for 3 years. The brewery opened 7 years ago.
7 years ago, all right.
Yeah, and the early on was definitely it was a little less there was no advertising. It was all word of mouth, and Gil came down and saw the actual brewery on Tuesday, and it's a small place in a very small town. You could drive right by. So I mean, the early days were not a lot of people knew about it, but lately it's grown, and it's grown tremendously in the few years since I've been here, and we're just actually getting ready to move into a new facility downtown Lancaster City. This early May, we should be brewing at the new location. It's a huge jump. It'll triple capacity, so it's business is going really well for us right now.
You know, packaging wise, do you guys? You know, now that I think about it, I've only ever had 22-ounce bombers of your stuff. Do you package things in 12-ounce six-packs, or is it just the big stuff?
We do currently. We offer our pale ale, which was actually Brewhouse's first 60 batches was all 7 Gates pale ale. We do offer that in 12-ounce cans right now. We don't do any 12-ounce bottling at all. We use 2 different mobile packaging crews right now because, again, Gil saw the brewery. It is tight. We have no space. So we have mobile crews that come down and hook up to our tanks, and we work the lines with them. And so the canning runs we do every 2-3 months to keep it as fresh as possible, and we can it and get it out within a week or two. But other than the pale ale, right now we don't do any 12-ounce format at all.
That's about to change, right?
Yeah, we're looking.
He's looking forward to stretch his arms as he brew. He's going to brew, open arms from now on.
Yeah, this spring I can't guarantee it, but we're looking into hopefully getting the grapefruit pale ale, which will be a new beer for us, into 12-ounce cans. Some things need to happen. Make sure you get everything, all the ducks in a row. But hopefully that gets out there because like you said, the 22-ounce bottles are great for certain beers. But it's nice to be able to just have a smaller pour for some certain beers.
Yeah.
You're telling us that you're telling me the other day that you're thinking about the She Monster, right? That's your Mungo IPA.
Yeah. Our owner Matt is really big into canned beer and certainly would like to get different styles in there and more stuff, but certain markets just aren't quite ready for cans. It's interesting, especially in Pennsylvania. I mean, there's certain territories. Philadelphia kills it. They take a lot of cans and they sell out quickly, but certain markets and smaller. There's certain, just kind of some towns that are a few years behind and they're just not quite ready for canned beer yet. They have a different perception of what kind of beer should be in a can. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think this is one of those moments where a show like ours really feels like we have made it, because you've got a guy heckling you from behind the glass. It's like the Today Show. It's like the Today Show. He's back there waving like he should have like a printed sign like it's my birthday and I'm here in New York or something. But, let's talk stouts. I mean, really, that's all. I mean, I've had your pale ale, the She Monster. I've had some other beers from that, thanks to Gil's generosity in the past. But really, the peanut butter stout, the peanut butter jelly stout. I've got the chocolate. What's it called here? Satan's Bake Sale.
Oh, that's a good one.
I've got that in a glass here now. That's the mint chocolate chip stout. So we got a little devil making some cookies on the label there. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I got to. Matt, I'm drinking the Big Gruesome right now.
Yeah,
and I've had my share of peanut butter beers and didn't like any of them, but this one is different. I mean, we speak about Sweet Baby Jesus and all these other peanut butter beers, but like, how do you guys use? Well, you don't use real peanut butter in the Big Gruesome, do you? Because this is probably one of your more popular beers when it comes out, right?
The Big Gruesome is one that we do offer that year round. About a year ago, we switched that to year round because we were just getting orders for it. Even when we took it off the sell sheets, people still ordered it, so we figured why push people away from it if they're trying to buy beer. So we turned this into a year round. We sell as much in July as we do in January. So. Which is amazing. I mean, you walk around our pub, it's right behind us, and you'll see it cracked me up when I first started working there. These like tiny women drinking jet black beer. I was like, they're not drinking the wheat beers. They're not drinking the fruity stuff. They're drinking a stout. That's just kind of blew my mind. We use a really neat coffee blend that I think gives it a pretty unique flavor. It's a peanut butter cup coffee, so it's a peanut product, and so the coffee smells amazing. And we let that cold steep on the back end in the conditioning tank, and it brings out a lot in the nose, and without being really sweet either. You know what I mean? So I think that makes a huge difference for us. With the big G.
No, this isn't a milk stout. It is just a regular stout, right?
Right. Yeah. There's no lactose in that at all.
Okay. Well, maybe you guys can kind of help with the trend of people automatically assume that women should drink the Hefeweizens and whatever, but you guys are making this beer and they're drinking it, so you guys are going to definitely contribute to women in the industry who don't just drink the frou-frou stuff, right? They can drink a dark beer and enjoy it just like we can, so that's awesome.
And we had one of those join us after the show started. Ashley Bowers joined the panel, and she is not much for the fruity drinks. She does like her lower ABV beers, but those are the British pale ales and those kind of things. So, Ashley, how are you tonight? Do you have any questions for Rob Tarves?
Awesome. I'm doing great. We just got back from a Girls Pan Out event actually tonight. We were interviewing an author. It was pretty cool. I don't know. Have you guys talked about the artwork?
We have not yet.
I love the artwork on all the labels. Do you guys have somebody in house that does that? Is it a family friend? What's the story?
We use a company actually out in California. The name of the company is, I'll just plug for them, Hand Carved Graphics. They do an excellent job, and the funny thing is what we do is we send them nothing other than the name of the beer. So we don't tell them, hey, Satan's Bake Sale, we're thinking something, with like the devil. We send them the name and say, hey guys, shoot us back a logo. And with rare exception, the first thing they come up with is what ends up on the bottle. They are really talented guys out there. They do excellent work. So as you can say, it's like the most ridiculous. What I love about it is it totally stands out. You look, and I've gone to kind of around down in either Philadelphia or Harrisburg, around Pennsylvania, and walk into a bottle shop and see some of our beer on the shelf, and it just cracks me up how much it jumps off the shelf with, the crazy artwork and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, we did a show on labels one time, and we have so many beers on the shelf, right? I mean, it's almost like you don't want to judge the book by the cover, but when there's like 200 bottles to choose from, that makes a difference.
Yeah,
labels are so important, and
Yeah.
us guys, we try all these different beers all the time. But think about the casual beer drinker who goes into a store. Label is going to be a big selling point.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. We did you were asking about cans earlier, and our pale ale can. When I saw what hand carved kickback for that, they did something I thought was really neat. They, instead of like putting a huge overall print on the can, they let a lot of the silver from the actual can be most of the coloring, and just printed lightly on top of that to kind of frame out the logo. There's a lot of the color of the can that shines through, and even something like that, that just kind of sticks off the shelf instead of it just kind of being a little bit off can just get someone even to look at it. Once they pick it up, then the name of the beer, or the style, or something like that might get it. It's amazing how much stuff's out there right now. You really have to kind of keep it in mind to sell a 6-pack or a bomber or whatever.
Rob, what's your I'm forgive me if you said this earlier, but what's your current brewhouse capacity?
We're sitting right between, I think, like 2,500, 2,700, something like that.
And
depending upon if we're really cranking it, and which right now we are. And the new place, is that where I'm assuming you're kind of going?
yeah.
The new place, I think we're immediately going to be able to do 10,000 a year, and we have the nice thing about the new place, unlike our current space, is that we actually have room and space to add another row of fermenters when that happens, and add some more conditioning tanks when that happens, and there's going to be there's room for expansion after what is a very large increase in capacity for us.
So how far is from your tap house right now you have here? We are at right downtown Lancaster. So you're going to be close by this location?
Yeah, we're 6-7 blocks away, so walking distance. And it's in a small industrial park. It's a little under 30,000 square feet, and we're currently in 1,500 square feet.
Oh my goodness.
So will you be closing the old place altogether, or is it or will you have both locations open?
Not 100% on that right now. There's still a little bit of shuffling around with the dollars and cents. What would be a total dream for everyone involved from our end would be keeping the original brew house and maybe one fermenter
For sours.
Yeah, and sour, barrel aged stuff, just like test batches, just totally funk it out, whatever we feel like doing. Maybe twice a month, get down there and crank some stuff out and just have fun with it. Just kind of Brewers Reserve or tap room only or whatever, but it's a lot of really nice equipment. It's all JV Northwest American-made tanks, and it's hundreds of thousands of dollars equipment to only use it twice a month. I don't know if we can quite pull that off. But
how big is the brew kettle in the old versus the new? I mean,
the actual brew house difference is not that great. We're only doubling the size of the brew house. So we right now we brew 10 barrel batches, and the new place we're going to be looking at brewing 20 barrel batches. The only difference is right now the system we have is not. It's more of a brew pub setup. It's set up for single batches to be. It's not meant to be cranking out brew after brew after brew, and the new system we're getting set up is a 20-barrel system with a separate vessel for whirlpooling, and basically it's set up to be a production brew house. So right now we can barely, with the water we have, brew two batches in a day. At the new place we can brew 4 a day. And the system's actually capable of brewing 6 batches in one day. So it's a really different setup.
But your flagship beer, you're brewing somewhere else, right?
No, everything's brewed in-house.
7 brewed?
Yep, everything's brewed in-house. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you wouldn't think that you guys are that small because everywhere I go, there's plenty of your beers and people buying out the shelf. You must be not getting a lot of sleep lately.
No, yeah, there's just three of us. It's myself and my buddy Isaac, and then the owner Matt, and the three of us are doing what we can to kind of keep, the problem was for the past year we haven't been able to grow at all. We met with all of our wholesalers and they had to basically focus on quality accounts and not finding new accounts, which was a little bit odd for them because their whole job is to sell as much beer as possible. But we had to tell them, like, hey, just, we can't get you any more beer because we can't brew anymore. So it's been an interesting struggle. But yeah, we've been at capacity for about a little over a year and a half, and it's been interesting to try to keep everyone happy, make sure everyone has all the big gruesome they need, basically.
I say you guys get a bunch of whiskey barrels. And, even if you do crank out 2 a month, throw some beer in some barrels at the old facility. You'll have the space there for a few barrels, and then you can charge a premium for those beers when you bottle it to make it even.
They do. The first
Oh,
thing
they
I will walk into, and the first thing I see is this big barrel with this Jack Daniels print right on.
Perfect.
Yeah,
One step ahead of me.
Yeah, we've been doing a little bit of barrel aging. We started doing this guy behind me is a nut job. He really is. We started doing some barrel aging almost 2 years ago. Almost 2 years ago, we started filling the barrels. But just this past summer, I think June or July was the first time we drained anything. So we kind of just took our first hack at barrel aging, and I think the results have been mostly really successful.
I couldn't get a membership. I tried to buy one. They were sold out. That was,
Yeah, we did. We decided to go that route of we only with basically the barrels we filled, the styles we did. We thought it worked out well to a round number. We could take 200 people on board, and it sold out in a few hours. And we've been putting out about a beer every 5 or 6 weeks, with the option to buy a second bottle if they want, and it's been interesting. It's been a cool learning experience for myself too. I mean, I didn't do any barrel aging at all in the previous places I'd worked, so it was kind of cool to really just taste these beers as they came along. From the early on flavors you get it almost tastes like a beer in a shot. Like there's no cohesion of flavors at all to really nice stuff coming in. It's a neat thing that everyone's starting to kind of latch onto, and I've really enjoyed being a part of that.
Well, fantastic. Well, we certainly enjoy what you're doing now. We look forward to what you're doing tomorrow, and keep the good stuff coming, and we'll keep buying it. I guess right now you must really, if you're only making 2,500 barrels, you probably just distribute Lancaster, Philly, Scranton, and the eastern part of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, we do have a pretty good chunk of PA. We go as far, for people that are from Pennsylvania, we go as far west as State College, where Penn State is. A little bit beyond that, but we don't have anything like Pittsburgh, Erie. There's a whole huge western chunk of the state that they've been calling us, and we actually just started meeting with them.
Well, good. Well, this new Brewhouse will let you get into those markets and hopefully beyond. So.
Yeah, that's the goal. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, great. Somebody have a question there before I move on?
No, I just talk about that. For me, they have kind of a niche in the market. They do such a crazy stuff like peanut butter and jelly and thing. And I was wondering, it's probably difficult. We were talking the other day how difficult it is for them to do the usual stuff because that's what people came to expect from coming out of the brewery. So.
Yeah. So people always expect crazy stuff from you guys now, right?
Yeah, it's funny. We did last year. We brewed just a straight up 5% classic porter, old school, and it was delicious. The batch just couldn't have moved. It was one of the slowest moving beers we've ever brewed. It just sat here. I mean, we were moving through maybe a keg a week at the bar, and we normally roll through 6 or 7 kegs of our pale ale a week. Like, I mean, it was just sitting around. I was like, this is a delicious beer. And I thought about it. I'm like, no one wants a porter from us. Like, they want like a chocolate porter or a coconut porter or, you know, something with some action going on, because we've really built a reputation of just kind of pushing the limits with the adjuncts and all the extra ingredients, you know.
You guys have really found your niche, and I think you're doing well with it. I mean, down here in South Carolina, people talk about it, so you're doing a great job with it.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
Very seriously.
On Instagram, I saw somebody from I think like in Doug and Matt's neck of the woods posting a picture of a picture of Big Gruesome, and I'm like, hey, how did she get that?
Yeah, he said, I have a case of Gruesome. What are you trading me for? I was like,
yeah, I actually posted a comment on that very post telling him we're interviewing Rob tonight, so you should tune in. So, but I will definitely find something to get a bottle of that from him with dig something off the shelves here. All right, well, the next thing we want to do is we talk about a couple of news stories, and Rob, feel free to stay involved and talk here. We're going to talk about Hunapoo Day. Randy, there's some news here.
Yeah, so Hunapoo Day is back this year. After last year, it happened, but there was a big debacle. Matt, do you remember exactly what happened last year?
Yeah, I think some guy was like posted a picture of his tickets online. It's like, oh my God, I got Hunapoo Day tickets. Here we go. And then I won't say the word, but somebody printed that picture out, cut the tickets out, took them, and got into the festival before that guy got there. So then it
wasn't just that one person. I mean, it was
this person printed them out and sold the tickets on Beer Advocate or on one of the websites, and so now they had more people at the gates than they really expected. The tickets weren't scanning because people couldn't get in, so they just said screw it. They just stopped checking tickets. They just opened the gates and let anybody in. Well, now you have a problem. You have more people there than you have beer. The lines are long. It was just a bad experience all the way around, and there was a couple of blog posts from I don't know if Wayne Wambles sounded off or if it was the owners, but they just said, screw this, screw you. We'll sell our beer through distributors next year. We don't need this kind of headache. We try to do something fun, and this is what we get. And fortunately, emotions calmed down, and they came to their senses and said, people still want this beer. This is a great beer, and that's where the article here is. They resurrected it.
Yeah, so the owner, so apparently when you let all those people in, you got people in line with legitimate tickets who don't get the beer that they were expecting to get. So they end up having to shut the doors or whatever. People are banging on the doors. They have to call the cops. And like Matt said, they get to the point where they're like, we're not going through this anymore. Screw this. We're not having Hunapoo Day anymore. Well, much like how in the case of Lagunitas in Sierra Nevada, they Tony McGee listened to his fans. Well, Cigar City did the same thing. So people started saying, you can't take it away just because you had this one bad experience. They started a Facebook page saying, basically bring back Hunapoo Day. So, they got together, figured out what went wrong and how they, what they could do to fix it and stop it from going wrong again next year. So last year, the tickets, they sold they planned to sell 3,500 tickets at $50 each. And then they were going to charge people for the beer. I want to say it was something like $20 for a bomber or something like that. And there was a cap on it, and that didn't work out. So what they did was they came back this year, and they're limiting the tickets to 2,000 tickets total at $200 each. And then the first 1,500 members of their membership only club, it's called the El Catador Club. They will have first crack at the ticket. So if there are any tickets left over after, those guys get their shot, then they'll be available to the public. So $200 sounds really steep, and I guess it is really steep. But along with that $200, well, let me say this first: the tickets are going to have each person's name on it. So if you purchase a ticket, your ticket will have your name on it, and you will have to present your ID to match that ticket, no exceptions. So that'll take care of what happened last year, right? And so along with that ticket price, they get 4 750 milliliter bottles that's going to be included, whereas previous years it was $20 each. So and the ticket is also all inclusive for food, and you get a tasting glass, and the 4 bottles come in a Hunapu branded carry bag. So essentially, it's like them selling 2,000 VIP tickets. So they went about it a little differently this year, and I know that $200 is a steep price tag to pay up front, but when you think about the fact that you're going to get 4 bottles of this highly coveted beer and your food is included, I mean, Ashley and I are going to be at a Brewvival, in next month, and their tickets are $75, and the food's not included, and we're not walking away with any bottles. So I mean, we're gonna drink some great beer that day, but I mean, if we could pay $75 for the ticket, have food included, and still be able to walk away with 4 $20 750 milliliter bottles, it probably kind of evens out. So it sounds crazy, but it's not really that much more than than a good beer festival anyway. So I think they went about it the right way this year. That based on how they're doing it, they shouldn't have the same issues that they had last year, and that's what it's all about. They want to keep their customers happy. They want to be able to do the right thing by people, and I applaud them for instead of just abandoning Hunapu Day, which is so popular, they figured out a way to do it better and to ensure that things get done the right way.
And 2,000 people at a festival is a ton of people at a place at a business. So I mean that's a pretty big day either way. I'm glad they brought the number down from the number of tickets they sold the years before too. So I don't know if they've got just 8,000 bottles of that or if they're going to distribute after that. But I guess we'll just see. Let's take this to Rob. Rob, do you guys ever do release day specials like that? Or is it just whatever you sell gets distributed or dropped in the tap room for growlers?
It's interesting you guys talking about that because that exact story down at Cigar City was the complete, well, not the whole reason, but a really big piece of the reason why we the way we handled our Barrel Reserve Society. We thought about just having release dates and first come first serve or sell tickets. And we heard this story, and we're like, "Oh man, it's a different ballgame these days. It's not what it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago." So we decided to do it in a different way, where we said everyone signs up for a membership, buys it online, and they have to come with an ID to pick up their bottles. They have to come with an email confirmation order number. If they have someone else pick up the beer for them, they have to have that person's a faxed ID. It's the things we have to do to get these people their beer is really, really crazy. But it's all because of basically, well, we were kind of freaked out about what happened down in Florida. We were like, we don't want to deal with that, where people are pounding down the door. So we thought this was the best way. And we've run into our own issues with it, where it's slow, but I mean, at least we know that we are handing the beer to the correct person, and no one's upset because they bought a beer that they can't even get their hands on. So.
Yep.
It's nuts, though, man. It's a really different ballgame. It's a really different ballgame.
And you have to imagine how bad the owner of Cigar City felt when that happened, when he had all those people who were basically unsatisfied customers. I mean, they were banging on the door saying, "Cigar City sucks. Cigar City sucks." They were literally banging on the door saying that. And so, I mean, that's the last thing that guy expected to happen that day. You know what I mean?
There's one true about marketing. Very few people remember the goods. A lot of people remember the bads. That's one bad thing can, stain years of work, and that's pretty sad. Yeah.
And the worst part to me is that all of this is supposed to be. I mean, we brew beer because we want people to enjoy it, and if a beer starts to get some sort of acclaim and it becomes coveted and it's a big thing, I mean that's great for that brewery, but it can be really, really crazy, when people go down and they scoop it all up and they hoard it and jack up the prices on it. And at the root of it, we're really trying to just make quality beer for people to enjoy. You know what I mean? That's the main thing we're trying to do here, and that's what everyone's trying to do.
All right. Well, I want to talk a little bit about our release of the week. I have not had this. This is a review from Chad's Beer Reviews. Chad spelled with a Z, and it's Founders. I don't know if he's a cocktail waitress or a stripper or something, but Z with a Z with a Z on there. But it's a review of the Black Rye from Founders. Has anybody on the panel had that yet?
No.
No, lots of shaking heads. But all right, well, this is the review from Chad here. This review is just in the last couple of days. There's a certain. This is from the taste part of his review. There's a certain flavor combination of hops and dark malt that works so well. That synergy of dank, resiny, piney, hop bitterness, and bitter roasted malt just works wonders together. Both are present immediately on the palate here. Up front, there's a dank bitterness followed by a bittersweet dark chocolate flavor with a hint of espresso through the middle. So far, guys, this sounds like I'm talking about a stout, right?
Yeah.
Right? As good as the first half is, the second half is even better with strong bitterness and an almost luscious, piney, sappy taste. The label indicates the beer is 78 IBUs, and it's quite clear that it's no exaggeration. The hops certainly are the focal point, though the malt base is strong enough to keep the palate balanced. Oddly enough, there isn't much distinct rye character except for some spiciness on the finish. It's a good way to end this delectable palate, though I'd like to see it used more prominently, speaking to the rye, especially considering the name of the beer. So, I read a couple of the reviews. That was from Chad. I read a couple of the reviews about this beer, and I saw a lot of where's the rye, but I was hoping one of you guys had drank this beer before, and we're going to be able to comment on it. But
Yeah,
Well, I
I
might like
haven't.
it because I'm not a huge rye fan, so.
I'm a big rye
I
fan.
love rye.
But we always talk about. I have a problem with bottles that promise stuff and don't deliver. That to me is just
I mean,
don't make the bold letters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Small there, so I know. But if you write coconuts in 6 times bigger than the name of the beer, you better get coconut in that beer.
yeah. Well,
That's what I wrote my blog on was whenever you, as a beer judge, if you list, as an entrant, if you list something and the beer judges look at it and it's not there, you're gonna get dinged for it. So if it's called black rye, it needs to have rye in it.
So this message goes out to Dave Engbers at Founders. We're going to ding you if you don't put rye in your black rye.
But
No,
maybe it's
But I love black rye is an excellent. I had it. I said no, but I remember I actually had it a couple of times.
I would
and
be
it's
expecting something
probably
like Wookie Jack, so it's not like that by the sounds of this review.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought. Yes, it is.
We love you, Dave.
We love you, Dave. And actually, Gil, we're going to move to the releases, and Gil wants to talk a little bit about Founder's Breakfast Stout.
Yeah, I know people probably wondering why I'm going to talk about KBS right now. Well, the whole thing is that this year, Founders, I talked to the people in Founders, and they decide, and I think Dave commented a little bit on that when we talked to him on the after party, but they are doing a whole week from March 9 to the 14th in the area. They're going to have, I think, I'm trying to remember, but it's going to be 3 to 4 bars a day because the final release is on the March 30th, and so they're going to just have different bars having, they're going to sell tickets and stuff, and the last day being at the brewery. So if you're nearby or if you're willing to travel, KBS is going to be available from the 9th to the 14th. And the reason we are bringing it up right now is that the ticket's going to be available, I think, on the second week of February already. So February
Valentine's
14th.
Day.
Yeah, February 14th. So, this is one of the beers. I think there's a handful of beers that been on the top 10 for more than 5 years or since BA and Rate Beer started. And KBS has been on the top 10 for almost every year. So this is a very, very sought after beer. And so if you're like me and you love KBS, you can get an early taste of it. Yeah.
All right. Well, the next release on the list here is one that I've never had. I'm going to have to probably find some way to fly to San Francisco and schedule my vacation around a release. But Russian River is releasing Pliny the Younger. This is their 11th release of Pliny the Younger, and it's tap only at Santa Rosa Brew Pub, and that's coming the first week of February. So I don't know. There probably nobody on this panel has ever had that. That's their triple IPA.
No, that's they only do tap on that. That's only tap.
Yeah.
Last year, Philadelphia got 6 sixtels of it. Not really sure how or why, but they got 6 sixtels of it, and I walked into a bar that the morning after my birthday, and I knew that one of my good friends was a bartender there, and he was really good friends with the owner, and they were having a Pliny the Younger like event where people were waiting outside. I felt actually really bad. People were waiting outside since like 5, 6 in the morning to get tickets. They weren't tapping it till 3 o'clock. I walked in, had brunch, and the owner of the bar knew that I worked at Springhouse, and they tap our beer a lot, and he, I guess, took it upon himself. He brought over a 5-ounce pour to me, and I never had it, didn't ask for it, but it's a really tasty beer. I always have a tough time with some of these like really coveted beers. I wish I would drink them before somebody tells me what they are, so I can just enjoy it for it being what it is, instead of like, this is Pliny the Younger, and like I'm expecting, everything in the world in a glass.
Perks of the job, right?
Yeah. But it was a very, very tasty beer. I wish I could have the Elder and the Younger side by side to really kind of be able to pull some differences and really kind of back on the
they've got a connection to Philly. I thought Russian River owned like a restaurant there or something, but Ashley's fill us in.
Yeah, Vinny's friends with the guy who owns the Monk there.
Oh, so it's just good friendship there.
Yeah, the Monk's awesome bar, actually.
Well, it's all about who you know there. So, all right. Well, Drake's also out of California, San Leandro.
You got it. There you go.
I have had too much Springhouse beer tonight. Apocalypse double. It's a double IPA at 9.3, 100 plus IBUs.
It is so good.
And they've also got the Tripel coming out.
That's the new one.
12.5%, also 100 plus. That's coming out here at the end of the month. Stone has got a mixed 12-pack with delicious IPA with reduced gluten. That came out on the 19th of January. Gluten, I guess not gluten-free, but reduced gluten.
Reduced gluten, yeah, that's what they have on the bottle.
So if you've got celiacs, you can get a Stone beer there. I know there's a lot of. We'll have to do a show on reduced gluten sometime because there's a pretty good market of those coming. Sukaba's got a box set from Firestone Walker. Looks like wow. Okay, that's coming out today. A 4-year vertical, from 12 to 15. Wow.
Nice.
That's pretty cool. You can buy that.
I wonder how much it's going to cost that.
Yeah.
Shoot. $80.
Yeah, no kidding.
I would pay for that. No problem.
Yeah, easy. Hoppin' Frog's got Hop Dam Triple IPA, boatload of hop. I don't know what that means, but that's coming out the 27th. Abita from Louisiana has got cold brewed macchiato espresso, a milk stout with PJ's coffee added. That's coming out last week. Jester King and Prairie Artisan has got a collaboration called Natural Union. It's American wild ale with rosemary, lemon, bee balm, and oak, and it's oak aged. That's coming out.
Is that the one with the 2 naked guys on the label?
Yeah,
I believe it is.
Yes.
Do you know the
love it.
backstory? The backstory of that is like there's this movement about a lot of peanut girls and the stuff on labels. So their response is to put 2 naked guys on the label. That's pretty awesome.
I'm all for equality.
Absolutely. Even if it's
equality, I'm sure.
Yeah. And that's the releases. We want to talk about a few festivals. Denver, I think Denver has a few breweries up there. That's 2015's Denver Winterfest is coming up on the 23rd and 24th. That's, tomorrow and Saturday?
That's probably going to be epic.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty awesome. I don't know who they get to show up, but they got like 90 breweries right there in Denver, so who cares if you get 20 of the good ones. Atlanta Winter Beer Festival in Atlanta, Georgia is on the 24th. They've got AtlantaWinterBeerFest.com as their website. 4th Annual Bay Area Brew Fest in San Francisco on the 24th. Sunday, I guess. Asheville Winter Warmer Beer Fest is in Asheville, North Carolina on the 24th. I guess they have so many beer festivals down there, they just have one per season. So here's their Winter Warmer Beer Fest. South Bend, Indiana has got one called South Bend 2015 Brew Fest on Sunday. And Bachfest, I said Sunday, but Saturday is the 24th, right? Today is Thursday the 22nd, so just screw all the dates. Just look it up online. You'll find some good stuff. Bachfest in L.A. And Los Angeles, California is coming up on the 25th, which really is Sunday. So that one I'll advertise properly. Any festivals up there in Pennsylvania we want to talk about, Rob or Gil?
We are just about to have our meeting to figure out who's going to what fest, so I'm completely in the dark on that one right
Yeah,
now.
there's a couple small. I think there are a couple small, like hearts thing, Gears and Hearts, and Cancer and Brew and things like that. But nothing major. So yeah.
You guys got to try to get down to Charleston, South Carolina, the last Saturday in February for Brewival. It's only amazing.
Yeah, and Savor's the first weekend in June. We're going to that too. So.
We'll be there. We'll be at Savor.
Yeah.
Watch
All right.
for us.
Look out, Craft Beer Nation.
It's a group stumbling over. That's us.
Yeah. I think we are.
Our owner went up
you can
there.
Come. I will drive you down. You can drive down with me.
I was really hoping we could feel again. My boss went up and poured for us 2 years ago. He said it was awesome.
Yeah, I'm afraid we're gonna be a little outclassed, but we're gonna give it a shot. So.
Oh, that's fun.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on the show and talking to us, Rob. If you guys have not been to their tap room, the tap room is in Lancaster. The brewery is in Conestoga, but get to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and you'll find their stuff. You can find them in the eastern part of the state in your normal channels, Wegmans, and bottle shops, and the quality bottle shops at least. But find their stuff. There's gonna be a lot more of it next year. And until next week, who our guest next week is?
Yeah,
I didn't put up on that.
Borderlands Brewing.
Oh, Borderlands out of Tucson, Arizona. Yeah. So tune in next week for that interview. And until then, everybody find some good friends. Find some great beer. I mean, like Springhouse quality great beer. And mind those P's and Q's.
Cheers.
This has been Pints and Quarts, brought to you by Craft Beer Nation. You can show your support for our podcast by subscribing to our content on YouTube, Stitcher, iTunes, or our website, craftbeernation.org. Thanks for listening.